السادة نواب الرئيس، السيدة جاكلين كوستن منسقة مشروع فيسز، السيد ممثل الاتحاد الأوروبي، السيدات والسادة الزملاء من جامعة المشاركة في المشروع، السيدات والسادة الزملاء من جامعة الدولي، السادة الشركاء المهنيين، السادة الصحفيين، أعزائي الطلبة، مرحبا بكم في هذه الندوة الدولية الأولى التي تنظمها جامعة المالك بالتعاون مع الجامعات المشاركة في مشروع إراسموس بلس فيسز. هذا المشروع هو تتمة لمشروع كامبوس سوينج. هذا مشروعان ينصبان على إدماج الطلبة في حالة إعاقة داخل الفضاء الجامعي في المغرب وفي مصر. من خلال هذه المشاريع تم إنشاء مراكز الإدماج والتي توفر خدمات تكنولوجيا، تكوين على مهارات وفضاء لتحسين جميع مكونات الجامعة بضرورة توفير ظروف جيدة للدراسة والاندماج. الشكر الجزيل مرة ثانية لسيد رئيس جامعة المؤتمر على ما قدم من إمكانيات لإنعقاد هذه الندوة. Now I'm going to shift to English. Honorable Professor Esmaail, President of Utrecht University, Honorable Vice Presidents, dear Professor Jacqueline Coston, PACES Coordinator, Mr. Representative of the European Union, dear professional partners, dear colleagues from the Ministry of Higher Education and Solidarity, dear colleagues from partner universities, dear colleagues from University, dear journalists, dear students, I would like to welcome you all to this first international conference organized by University in collaboration with the Erasmus Plus project PACES partners from Morocco, Europe, and Egypt. The conference is entitled University, Society, and Enterprise: Solidarity in favor of the inclusion and integration of students with disability in Morocco. PACES is a continuation of an idea we have all cherished since Campus Project Swing, that of creating a friendly and hospitable environment for students with disability. The objectives of PACES project lie in integrating students with disability in the university campus in Morocco and Egypt. Thanks to the funds provided by the European Union, 8 North African universities have succeeded in setting up accessibility centers, both physical and virtual, in providing appropriate assistive technology, training, and coaching. Our European partners have been very generous in transferring their best practices. Each local PACES team has worked hard to sensitize top management, faculty, administrators, students, and parents to do their best to facilitate the integration and the inclusion of students with disability on campus and in the job market. We have recruited a lot of EIMs and we intend to carry on recruiting more. Now I will give the floor to His Excellency Professor Esmaail, the President of University.
Thank you very much, my friend. First of all, it's a big honor and great pleasure for me and for our university to receive this first international conference organized with the partner of the Erasmus Plus universities, Untitled University, Society, and Enterprise: Solidarity in favor of the inclusion and integration of students with disability in Morocco and in Egypt. Second things, I want to thank all our partners, and especially our friends from Union Europe, particularly University of Chaîne, University of Alicante, Spain, University of Macedonia, Greece, and University of Maroc, France. Second thing, I want also to thank our partner from Egypt, Academy Arab for the Science and Technology, University Ain Shams, University of Fayoum, University of Mansoura. And again, I want to thank all our Moroccan partners, University المالك السعدي, University Mahmoud and University of Moulaye اسماعيل, and also our partners society, civil society, with order, particularly my friend Said Hello. At the end, I want again to thank you all to give us this opportunity, and I hope big success for your first conference. Second thanks, I hope that nice action will continue in other phases. It's our responsibility to capitalize this nice project and deliver from this project. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Now I will give the floor to Professor محمد, Vice President in charge of academic affairs. The floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. Dear Mr. President, Asdin Midawi, dear Mrs. Jacqueline Colston, Peace's coordinator, Mr. Representative of the European Union, dear representative of the Ministry of Solidarity and Ministry of Higher Education, dear Professor and colleague Vice President, dear colleague from partners universities, dear colleague from Ibn Tufayl University, dear professional partners, dear students, welcome all. First of all, I wish we could meet here in person in this nice sunny day. But because of the pandemic, we are forced to hold this event online. Today, we celebrate the efforts of 12 European and North African universities to empower students with disability, to facilitate their access to higher education and to better their career opportunity. Thank you to the European Union. From 2013 to 2016, we worked together as partners in the STEAM project. 8 universities participated then in that project. Since 2017, 12 universities have participated in PACES. We have learned a lot about disability and best practices from the European partners. We have worked together to solve problems, to set up accessibility center and to use assistive technology. We have managed to persuade employers to be EMs and to adopt a policy of inclusion. I hope we will have the chance to work again on how we can develop the experience we have acquired. I hope we will transfer our best practices to other Moroccan and Egyptian universities. Finally, let me reiterate our deepest gratitude to the European Union for founding this project. I would like also to warmly thank all PACES teams from partners universities for their commitment and sense of sacrifice. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Damir. Now I give the floor to PACES coordinator, Professor Jacqueline Costa. Jacqueline, the floor is yours.
Okay, I'm thinking now, can you hear me, you said?
Well, not very well.
Okay, so I'll just carry on chatting until you can tell me that you can hear me, because everybody else can hear me on the call. I think it's probably something to do with translating it into the hall. And I can hear you, Yusuf, when you're speaking.
No, we can hear you. Go ahead. It's good.
Okay, I'll just keep just chit-chatting. And so it's a sunny day over here in the UK, which is a great change. But the sun is shining and the daffodils are out, so we're feeling a bit more hopeful today. We're very sorry that we can't join with all of you in the space, in the hall. As soon as Yusuf gives me the go-ahead, I'll do a proper introduction. But I think they're just trying to work that out at the moment. I think I'm probably the first person who's spoken from the Google Meet. So maybe it's a bit of a technical glitch. A few of my colleagues are here. My colleagues who have helped me in the project and have been with me all the way. So I'm really pleased to see them. I'm really pleased to see everybody else here. I'm just chatting away so that they can tell whether I'm speaking or not. I'll probably stop in a minute and then they can shout to me if they want me to start again. But I am, as far as my microphone is concerned, it's on and you can all hear me, so I'm just thinking that it's probably a glitch in the hall where they're trying to get the video call. So I apologise for that. I also need to tell everybody that there is a building work going on opposite my house. So if you do hear some building noise, hopefully it won't last too long, but they have picked this week to start, which is unfortunate, but I've tried to block it out as much as possible. And so great to be part of the project and part of the project conference at last, which is brilliant. So I think they're still trying to sort out the sound. So I'm just chatting away. Can you hear me?
Jacqueline?
No, we can hear you.
Oh, Jacqueline, I was just, good morning, and good morning, Khalifa. I was just going to remind you to speak slowly when you give your actual talk. Because I can see, I can see that the Google caption is working as a translation, but obviously it works best. It's quite a slow presentation. Good morning.
Hi, Catherine. I will speak a lot slower.
Jacqueline,
You will.
Jacqueline, can you hear me? Yes, please.
Yes, and it's so exciting with the conference today. We've got a lot of people joining us, I understand. I'm not sure how many, but I think it's probably over 100. Khalifa, do you know how many people are joining us today?
Online now something like maybe 61, but I think I don't know how many people in the hall there.
About maybe 20, maybe more.
And I think maybe
Khalifa,
more
can you hear me, Khalifa?
I think the whole
Okay, we will redirect the camera and we'll show you the audience.
So, Catherine, if you tried the translation, can you see my words coming up at the bottom?
I'm using both sites, so I'm running both sites at the moment. But I actually have the captioning on the main site.
Catherine,
Which runs at the bottom of my screen. So I'm not hearing a translation, but I can see a caption in the main site.
Oh, that's good.
Jacqueline?
I don't listen to last week everything froze. So I'm just going to go with the one and then I'm going to go
Yusuf, كسبه. The translation, yeah.
And I think
Jacqueline, can you hear me? Yes, please. this is just a welcome note from your part as project with the coordinator. So can you just say a few words to the audience, and then we'll start the presentations. Yes, please, go ahead. Thank you.
Good morning. I can't tell whether you can hear me or not, Lisa, but I am speaking. I'm trying to chat a little bit so that we can get the sound sorted. If you let me know.
No, we can hear you. Just go ahead.
I don't. Can you hear me? So I'm just talking away, but let me know when you want me to start, Yusuf.
No, just a few words to welcome the audience as project coordinator.
Okay, you want me to start, Lisa?
Yes, start, please. Yes, start. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, well, I just really wanted to start off with the opening by saying, how happy I am to be here today, and I really wish that I was there in person. As you said, I'm the coordinator of the PACES project, and I'm going to be introducing later, but just to say thank you today, and that according to the World Health Organization, in 2020 there were more than 1 billion people in the world who live with some form of disability, and this is increasing day by day. Young people with a disability are much less likely to go to university, and of those that achieve a degree, there is a much lower percentage of graduates with a disability who will gain employment compared to those without a disability. So in 2017, with our partners, we started the PACES project to try to change this. Today, the conference allows us to celebrate our work over the last 3 years and to work with the ministries, the universities, the employers organisations, and of course the students to discuss how we can take this further. So I would really like to thank our esteemed guests, Professor Azadine El-Moudai, President of Ibn Tufayl University, Professor Mohammed Damir, Vice President in charge of academic affairs, who has been a great supporter of the PACES project and one of the original members of Ms. Wafeh Hajaji, Mr. Brahim Zariki, Minister of Solidarity, Social Development, Equality and Family, Mr. Abdel Lassam Laizadi, Minister of Higher Education, Mr. Mohammed Arutin, National Council for Human Rights, Mr. Abdel Hamid El-Haddad, Social Development Agency, Professor Abdullahi Burhaba, Coordinator of the Ibn Khaldun Project, Professor Abdurrahman Haddad, University of Moulay Ishman, Ms. Naima Harab, Director of the National Agency for the Promotion of Employment Skills. A special thanks go to Professor Karima Salmawi, Professor Yusuf Hadoush, and Professor Ahmed Khalifa Mohammed, and all of the team at Ibn Tufayl for organising the conference, and to all of the PACES project team for their contribution and support. I want to thank the partners in PACES for working so hard, for all the teams and all the participants, and for the European Union Erasmus Plus programme for funding the PACES project and for making it all possible. I think I'm handing back to you now, Yusuf, and then I can do my presentation when you're ready. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jacqueline. Thank you very much. Well, I think we are done with the opening speeches. So I think we'll move now to the presentations. And I will invite you, Jacqueline, again to make the presentation. Do you need to share your screen? Jacqueline, do you need to share your screen? Can you hear me, Jacqueline? Jacqueline, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Well,
Yes, sir.
I think you can start. I think you can start your presentation now that we are done with the opening speeches. So, do you want to share the screen for your presentation?
Yes, I'll share. Doing that now.
Okay, so now we're going to listen to a presentation by Professor Jacqueline Cosme again, entitled Overview of the EU Faces Project. Well, the floor is yours.
So the reason we're all here is for papers. And today I'm going to give an overview of the FACES project and the impact it has made in the last 3 years. Firstly, I'm going to tell you a bit about my background so that you can see where I'm coming from. So I started my career working for BBC Television in London, working on digital graphics. And after some years I worked freelance for television. And then I started my own company, employing and training broadcast professionals, which I did for 10 years. So I understand how hard it is, but how rewarding it is to be an entrepreneur. I then changed direction and I became leader of the adult team at Birmingham Brain Injury Centre, where the focus was to help people back into work after they had suffered an acquired brain injury. The participants were mainly the victims of vehicle accidents or assaults. They had sustained many disabilities and in general had to find new and different employment. This involved a programme of rehabilitation and workplace skills. Alongside supporting people with disabilities and educating employers about the opportunities arising when you make your workplace more diverse and more disability friendly. During this time, I gained qualifications in careers and employability. After this, I entered academia, where I was the employer development manager at Oxford University. I worked with students and also with employers to increase opportunities for graduates. So I understand the pressures on employers, and that when you explain the benefits of employing a diverse workforce, most of the employers find that their worries about employing people with disabilities found. I set up the Serious Game Institute, and then the Media Program. Both of these centres were all about innovative ways of learning, including a virtual workplace edition helped people with autism experience difficulties. Then 3 years ago, my co-director, Professor Gary Hall, we set up the Research Centre for Post-Digital Cultures, aiming to understand this post-digital and working towards this for the more socially sustainable post-digital. So in my work, you can see that there are digital technology increasing education and work. So that are my first. Coventry University is in Coventry, in the heart of England. It is a very forward-thinking, innovative university. We have a 5G campus, and currently we are top in the world for massive open online courses, which some people call MOOCs. We are the top university for graduate career prospects in the UK. Country, one time university year in 2016. We are a disability. We are always top or near the top for students. Students are the reason we exist. why we come to work, why we always put them first. We have hundreds of projects in our university, and in my research centre alone, we have 59 projects. The most relevant here are the projects in my research centre about working with students with disabilities. I was principal investigator of something you probably heard a few people talking about. Swing was also setting up accessibility centres, and the first in a suite of projects with my good friends in the Arab Academy in Alexandria, Abdul-Malik al-Sa'di in Tehran, the University of Alicante, and of course here in Kenitra with Ibn Tufayl University, which we started in 2000. At one of those visits here to Kenitra. And we all very sad that we can't be with you today. The SWING project helped us think of good practice at the Erasmus Plus Conference in Brussels. It is the basis for the PACES project. So when SWING finished, we then worked on a similar project called Muse with our partners from Alicante University, working with universities in South America to help their students with disabilities in Chile, Argentina, and Mexico. This project was deemed to be the top Erasmus Plus project in South America for best practice. So then it was time for us to move on from SWING, and we wrote the PACES project. And the PACES follows on from SWING and Muse. And the focus of all of these projects is to increase capacity, to access for students, to help students get university and get through their courses, and ultimately to work. For us all, it's important to create impact, which means in terms of the project that something has changed. This project is not just to provide equipment, not just to provide training, but for us to work together to create a better environment in universities for the future, so that students with disabilities can equally access a university education and ultimately employment. So the aim of PACES is to set up a system and programme to support the modernisation of higher education by developing accessibility centres. And by accessibility centres, I mean a point of contact in your university, point of contact that has equipment, it has support, it has advice. And it's just that bit extra that helps students make it through university courses. And there are 4 objectives of PACES. 1 is to transfer good practice and assess the needs. 2, to build and progress the accessibility centres. 3, to build on the SWING training programme and to add to that with lessons learned. 4, to establish an employers network and mentors in business. And 5, to develop student support peer-to-peer networks. There are 12 partners in the project. 4 from the EU, 4 from Morocco, and 4 from Egypt. We all help each other. We share knowledge and borrow good practices. It's a well-balanced project, where different universities bring their different skills and experiences to the mix. But like making a cake, we bring all the ingredients together to make something very special. The first work package involved asking students and staff what the current situation was in their universities and what they needed. This is what they said. We conducted surveys and we held focus groups, and this is what they said they wanted: employability support, training for staff and social groups for students, and accessibility centres. And as you can see, employment is at the top of the list. Like the majority of all students everywhere, students with disabilities want to get a job and fulfilling career. My colleagues, led by Dr. Sarah Merry, have compiled this research into a needs assessment report with recommended good practices. And this is available to you in hard copy on the website. And I'm sure our partners can make that available to you in hard copy if you're in the hall, or on the website if you're from a distance. 6 new accessibility centres were created because Ain University have 2 accessibility centres, and 4 other centres were progressed and improved because our academy have 2 centres. And so building on the 4 centres already created during the SWING project, this now makes 10 accessibility centres because of the PACES project. In fact, creating an extra 2 accessibility centres, we have created more impact than we said we would. The accessibility centre in University of Ishmael was visited by employers and government staff who were inspired to sponsor full scholarship for students with a disability in future years. And as an additional impact at UMI, the visitors offered to replace the centre's windows, which were in need of repair. A new innovation for the project was the addition of pop-up accessibility centres, which meant that these mobile, flexible, pop-up centres could be taken out to different places where people live who would not have the benefit of visiting the universities. Therefore, teachers, trainers and students could get view of the accessible technology and the support available there when they go to university. Despite the COVID-19 pandemic, the pop-up accessibility centres have visited over 15 venues in places such as schools, municipal spaces and libraries, taking PACES out of the university into the community. As you can imagine, the training of teachers, training of support staff and students has been very difficult in the COVID-19 situation. Teachers and lecturers have had to put most of their teaching online. And although it felt like an extra task to some people, it was actually a joy to others. To train teachers, employers and volunteers about working with students who have disabilities. The aim being to understand how to make learning more accessible and to improve quality in the workplace. All PACES universities are including training in their induction courses. In fact, this has been so effective that 2 of the universities, Ain University and the Arab Academy, are providing training to staff from universities outside of their own universities. And this shows the spread of knowledge and capacity building. Bayoun University has provided training to government staff and to employers off-site. The aim of recruiting volunteers was not only to help students with disabilities throughout their student life and to include students with disabilities in social activities, but so that the students understand the implication of what it means to have it. And this means that we're training future professionals. We are training architects, teachers, psychologists, engineers to create universal design and whatever job in, so that we don't treat disability as a problem in the workplace. We design the workplace to make it equal for all. The amazing students of the PACES universities have been so enthusiastic that we recruited many more volunteer students in our program than we had planned to do. We have recruited and trained over 1,000 volunteer students. There have been obstacles. No project is without some difficulties. But for us, the world changed in 2020 when the COVID-19 virus emerged, creating havoc in most countries in the world. I didn't get under working from home. Student learning online, we've been affected in every way. Communication has been an issue. They've not been able to meet each other face to face. We know that we work much better when we meet in person. We get a lot more done when we're in the same room, face to face, working as friends. As part of the project, we were introduced to Zoom video meetings, long before the rest of the world had to take it up. It's been a great benefit to us all meeting online and over Zoom or Teams or Skype for teaching and training. We're all tired of being on screens due to the pandemic, but we have all kept in touch. Teams of each partner country in Morocco and Egypt have been keeping in touch with their partners and their colleagues to support each other, to help each other. We always say we feel like a family. We have worked together as a family to complete the PACES project. 19, which is the PACES carried this and a little differently than intended. But we still did it. We have covered all of our activities. The European Union, the RAPLAS programme, has been very handling of the situation, and therefore we were able to this project by 6 months to call 2021, in the hope that we will be able to cover all of our deliverables. The main reason we overcame these obstacles is that we are all determined and passionate about the project. As the deliverables, we had unexpected surprises in the project. Professor Matt just at the University of Maroc and the coordinator for accessibility for the federal affliction of the deaf. Professor Simon of the University has made contact with the president of the evening doing the work for the PACES project. And as you will see later, a Moroccan Instagrammer visited Ibn Tufta University. The video of our visit has had 1,000 hits online. Professor Habiba Destra and her team at University Mohammed V hosted a very well-attended conference. We're organising and disseminating their work with students with disability. Students at Mohammed V created a charitable project to raise money and support for young children. And Surrey University has created a new master's level course in special education as a result of this in the PACES project, which is a fantastic capacity building impact. And with more impact, Arab Academy will join the presidential ceremony held for and by people with disabilities in it of His Excellency Mr. Fattah el-Sisi, the Egyptian president. Under the Egyptian Sport Federation for Intellectual Disabilities, the team will share their stories and their good practices. And Arab Academy's team has joined 2 of the entrepreneurship summits in Egypt and disseminated about the PACES project at the Eid Entrepreneurship Summit in Aswan and the Technical Summit in Alexandria. And at Mohammed V University, in the program Citizenship Education, 72 students are engaged in accompanying the candidates applying for recruitment organised by the Ministry of Vice. Arab started a care club, student chapters, volunteer about support for students with disabilities as part of the sustainability. And during the next day and tomorrow, we hear impact and sustainability. And now today, we can advance one of the most important work packages, employability. And the aim of this part of the project was to recruit employers as mentors, run roundtables and employability workshops, and set up a national network, and to collate placement streams. As part of this, we developed the Employers Charter to make your workplace disability friendly. Diversity makes business sense. All about employers and employer communities. And we aim to set up a high-educated employees network in Morocco. in Egypt. People with disabilities are hugely diverse people with many amazing skills and experiences. Employers look at disabled people in terms of having value and employ people who think differently and have qualities that their organisation can get that competitive edge that is key in business. This leaves a very impact on the profits when you recruit from the widest pool of talent. Employing people with a disability is not an act of charity. It is a reflection of a business that strives to be inclusive of everyone and wants to tap into skills and experiences wherever they are found and supports everyone to be best, ultimately benefiting the business. As one of the outputs with all our partners, given to their leading this work package, we have created an employer's charter focused on students through the PACE project. Disability organisations play a leading role in changing attitudes for the better, are changing and cultures in their own businesses and communities, and reaping the benefits of inclusive practices. One of the most important work packages, which has been delayed because of the COVID-19 situation, is the Employers Network. And I'm so delighted to see everybody here today. There are some wonderful organisations in Morocco and Egypt already working towards disability confidence in the workplace. And most of them are here and already committed. And I really hope that today and tomorrow we can work together with our employers and organisations already working in this area to build the network and to spread it more widely through the partner countries. This will be one of the best legacies of PACES. So we ask ourselves, what is next? What is the sustainability of this project? Our colleagues at Abdulmalik Al-Sadi are leading the sustainability work package, but all of the PACES partners are committed to continuing the work of the accessibility centres. The pop-up mobile accessibility centres will continue to visit schools and community spaces in Morocco and Egypt. Training will continue, and it has already become part of induction for staff, which means that every staff member will understand what it means to help students with disabilities in the university to progress to graduation and beyond. Student volunteering will continue. They will support peers every year, and when our students go out in the world at work and PACE to date. The Higher Education Employer Network will continue and will develop. It's employers and organisations that play students disability to invest in and encourage them to employ people with disabilities in their workplace. Employers and students are essential to help shape and grow the legacy. And finally, the PACES will be to create a more equal and diverse society. Thank you all so much for being here and being part of the conference.
Okay, thank you, Jacqueline.
Hopefully I've stopped sharing my screen now. Is that correct?
Thank you
Yes.
very much, Jacqueline, for this succinct overview.
Thank you.
Thank you. So back to you, Sir.
Okay, thank you, Jacqueline, for your succinct presentation. Well, as you said, we have been working together as a family since 2013, and they hope we will carry on, why not, work on something new to promote the accessibility centers and satisfy the needs of students with disabilities. With no further ado, I will give the floor now to another member of the PACES team, namely namely our dear Lifki and Ms. Pagona Giolido from Greece to talk about how to hire persons with disability. Lifki, how are you? Can you hear me? Okay. Okay. The floor is yours. The floor is yours.
Pleased to see you even from distance. Thank you very much for organizing this conference, and it is interesting that we have the both sides, the side that we cannot be there. This was the content of the project and the implementation of all activities. I am not going to take much time since my colleague make the presentation. And I will be here available to ask any, to have for any questions. The topic of the presentation is how to hire people with disabilities. I hope all you can hear us, hear me. Tonya?
It's fine, it's fine.
Yes, I can hear you. Good morning from you. Okay, you can share the screen. Okay. So, hopefully I can make it. So, just to mimic the same problem as before. Yes, that's the same problem as before. I hope I can deal with it. Can you hear me now? Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, yes, we can hear you. Can you share it?
Yeah, you have to disconnect one of your devices.
Yes.
Yes, okay, yeah.
Should I for that? Okay. I don't know why that happened.
Please,
Disconnect
just one.
I do.
Ms. Tonya, just please.
What we can have in my story.
This one seat, yeah. You know, this is the engineer.
I have disconnected this. I don't know why that happens.
Not mute the mic, you have to disconnect the audio. Yeah.
Tonya doesn't pick up on. We don't hear your door, Tonya. What about now?
Present now. Present now.
Yes, you get a problem with your but now I don't hear.
Sonia, you will find at the right side, present now. So,
Now, we can see your presentation.
Okay, Tonya, we can hear, we cannot hear you, but we can see the presentation. No, don't hear you. You cannot hear us. And please have the microphone can sit down. I'm sorry for everything, sorry. Can you hear me? Yes, now yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me? Because I cannot hear you.
Now we can hear you. Go ahead. Perfect. Go ahead. Perfect.
Yes.
We hear you now, Sanya.
No, still no.
We hear you.
Perfect. Perfect, Tony. Go ahead.
Okay, let's start. I cannot hear you, unfortunately.
No, we can hear you. Go ahead.
The good thing is I didn't hear you. Okay. So we will go into the interview about how to fight persons with disabilities. First of all, having a disability in the workplace often simply means being differently able. So in many countries, individuals with disabilities are protected by law.
I'm sorry, but can you hear? So I'm writing to hear a message. We have done a lot of rehearsal, but more. Sorry, Khalifa. We did rehearse that many times.
Is that okay now?
Yes, it's okay. Go ahead.
Perfect.
Perfect.
So we are going to present you about how to find people with disabilities. Having a disability in the workplace often simply means being differently able. So in many countries, individuals with disabilities are protected by law. As employers are prohibited from discriminating against applicants with disabilities and often try to focus on hiring individuals with disabilities. Like all employees, people with disabilities can bring a range of skills, talents, and abilities to the workplace, and there is a range of supports to help them find and keep employment. So let's start about why employers don't hire people with disabilities. Every person is not right for every job, but many employers don't realize that people with disabilities represent a diverse labor pool with a wide range of backgrounds and experience capable of meeting or exceeding performance standards. Employers may choose not to hire individuals with disabilities just because they believe that they are less productive and equally qualified individuals with disabilities. So let's give them some reasons why we should hire people with disabilities. One of them is that they have a larger talent pool. In the long run, hire the best workers that they, regardless of whether they are disabled or not, consider the chances for small business success. By welcoming candidates with disabilities, you will be accessing the part of the workforce that you are unlikely to have access for. You are more likely to recruit the right person to the right job if you are not excluding anybody. Another reason is the potential improved image. If you operate in a small community, you can quickly establish a reputation as a company that offers a more diverse workforce. This may make you more attractive to potential employees, customers, and business associates, meaning that your organization will be more community representative in general. Other companies in your area may also be inspired to follow your lead, eventually creating a more diverse business climate in your community in general. People with disabilities also inspire others. So if they do so, and employers will witness the positive effect on their entire staff. Co-workers seem much more open to teamwork when a disabled employee is on the team, and they also enthusiastically help disabled employees to be successful. People with disabilities also have a need to succeed. Employers themselves agree that these employees are committed to their work and are dedicated to the company. Also, they express a very strong desire to succeed and regularly seek more responsibility. Many people with disabilities have been excluded from the workforce for a long time and are very keen to work hard. Their enthusiasm can be infectious. So So some limited demands people with disabilities are stated on the workplace. Employers must be sure that they understand the legal requirements which are expected from an employee. You must not make enemies of people. If you need information on how an applicant will perform a role or task, ask him or her. You must treat the person with a document. It would also be wise to let your staff know that that person with disabilities job and make sure that everyone is positive. You could also prepare your staff before the person you hired shows up for the first day of work. Explain the individual circumstances and why he or she was hired. If your staff still feels uncomfortable about how to communicate or work within a colleague, arrange training for them. So this diagram shows a way how to cover needs and demands of these people with disabilities in the workplace. First of all, you advertise the role. Selection criteria should be based on the specific skills, knowledge and abilities required to perform the role needed. Then applications are received. Shortlist applicants are based on standard merit and equity principles. You arrange interviews, inquire as to whether the shortlisted candidates require any adjustment for the interview itself. Then, afterwards, you conduct the interview. You must ensure all questions focus on the candidate's ability to perform the role, make no other assumptions, and hiring decisions should be made using merit-based selection procedures. Then you can make an offer of employment. The successful candidate has a disability, start consideration of reasonable adjustments in the workplace and implement them prior to the start date. By saying reasonable adjustments, what do we mean? First of all, it is just responsibility should reasonable adjustments are important to perform the role. First of all, you have eyes, then you have an initial discussion, then you conduct the workplace test. At last, give recommendations. And which are the options of work? First of all, there could be partial employment, which means that people with disabilities are allowed to continue to do part of their original job, either part-time or with the addition of tasks. They can drop certain tasks and take on others that are currently carried out by other colleagues. Also employment. If people with disabilities are unable to perform their previous job, but carry out another function within the organization, retraining and redeployment are considered options. Moreover, there could be flexible working arrangements. Part-time, flex-time, job share, or work from home could be a deciding factor for the person's productivity. Also, adapting an accessible probation assisted technology can certainly allow people with disabilities to perform their job without difficulty. This is also an obligation made by Article 5 of the Employment Equality Directive, which means that which creates the obligation for employers to make reasonable accommodation for disabled people. And what we mean by adapting the workplace? Some examples for example, lowering the desk of height for a wheelchair, provide telephone treatment for a patient worker, allowing the door into the workspace by and flexible schedule drop-down, successful parking spacing. There could be also other precautions and adaptations that include the general workspace, not the work itself. We could have some examples for safety precautions. For example, could be inaccessible access points, exposure to chemical and physical agents, hazard community training, heavy machinery safety, warning systems, and alarms, economics.
There could be also some accommodations about emergency, such as well-marked emergency route signs and alarms, in good working condition, even a bus system among both each other safety, operating phones with two-way radios to contact emergency service systems, etc. So some more specific suggestions for helping groups with a fully participating workplace would be, for example, for block vision, alter print tech, designs and equipment, providing seating where the lighting best meets their individual needs, making brochures, job announcements, and other information available in electronic format, equipping computers with large and screen enlargement software, and a very important factor, as we have already seen, is technologies. As more jobs become knowledge work, using more devices and internet, it seems that productivity differences between people with disabilities and people without disabilities will become even more insignificant. As a person with disability describes, being a member of the generation, one can escape the bounds of the damaged body and compete on equal terms with those without disabilities. So we can see how people with disabilities themselves see assistive technology. Some companies have already done that, such as the Danish company Specialist, operating in software development for mobile phones, which employs people diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome. More specifically, the great majority of its employees are people diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome. Those employees are very methodical, they have great job motivation, and they are willing and appealing to find social grants. The choice of the company to hire as many as possible people with Asperger's syndrome is solely a business plan based on risk. People with Asperger's syndrome are the best employees for this type of work. So in conclusion, employers should make performance standards clear to all workers and hold them to those standards. Employers should deal with personal or performance problems of an employee with a disability just as he or she would in any other employee. Workers with disabilities do not have exemption from punctuality and attendance rules or other employment conditions. That is all from us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I am sorry for everything. It was a big house.
Yes, Nifki? Okay, so thank you.
Do you have any questions or something?
Well, I really don't know. I think everything is fine. So thank you again for sharing with us some very good examples of integration of people with disability in the job market. Thank you very much. Now I think, I don't know, do you have any questions for Nifki? Well, I think everything was clear, so thank you very much again. I think now it's time for us to watch a documentary film directed by Ihsan bin Aloush, influencer and goodwill ambassador of the European Union in Morocco. Okay, I think, yeah. The video will start.
Thank غنشارككم قصة فعلا أبطالها شباب تحداو الإعاقة ورسموا طريق لأهدافهم، وأهم حاجة حققوا مجموعة من الإنجازات في حياتهم.
كنت جميلا ترى الوجود جميلا.
ما نحس براسي أن الإنسان غير عادي، فهمتي؟
أبطال نتاخذهم قدوة ونستمدوا منهم القوة لأنهم فعلا كيستحقوا النجاح. وبلاتي إلى أول مرة كتشوفوا فيديوهاتي كنتمنى أنكم تشتركوا في القناة. ودابا خلونا نديرو الفيديو من الأول باش نفهمو. بعد نجاح جوج حلقات الأولين من سلسلة تحدي مع الإحسان، كنظن أنه جا الوقت باش نكتشفوا اختلاف الآخر ونغير كل الصور النمطية اللي عندنا. رتبت بعض الأفكار حول موضوع اليوم اللي هو كيفاش قدروا بعض الشباب يتحداو الإعاقة. داكشي علاش
جينا طلبة الطبيعيات
استقبلنا في البداية الأستاذ الشبان العلم هو المنشد، لقينا مشروع كل زمن وتعرفنا كذلك على المشروع اللي جبناه، مشروع التيز.
القرار وقت الجامعة سنة 2015 لقيت تحت البرنامج مشاركة مع الاتحاد الأوروبي سنة 2020، ولكن البرنامج بعد كان التنفيذ ديالو لا كيتبع بسجل ولا كان يعملوا فيه كيستحمل على الطلبة مصارات التفصيل ديالهم، كيسهل عليهم التواصل مع الأساتذة. كل ما هو ضروري يمكنهم التعارف نفسهم والعلاقة بالآخرين.
بعد ما تعرفنا على المشروع جا الوقت نعرفكم على قصصهم المهمة. نبداو مع مولاي سلمان وردي. رياضة اشتغل منذ 30 سنة طريق عاصم كمال الدين خليل. أنا قصصهم المالية تحت.
أنا كيف تدينا؟ نقدر نحكي ساعتين طاولة كبيرة. بعد حتى مع الموضوع الأكسجين كل أسرائيل.
نقول البروبلم من المباركات وكان عندي واحد مشكل هذا اللي كيكون كيلعبوا مشكل
أريد تكليفا وصعبا لمهنة البصرة، ولما يكفي كان لي حظ أن أدرس بمعهد اللغة والمفوفين في مرحلة الأساس، المرحلة الابتدائية. مرحلة الأساس.
تعيش حياة تخرج تغلط في الحوايج تكون باقي صغير تزن شي شوية الجناب ديالك مازال تستوعب فريمون الحالة اللي انت فيها وبغيتي تتأقلم معاها في الميديا.
يكون طول تحت التعليم تنزع من الكتاب وشافوي تنزل من تنزل هذا ماذا الإعاقة؟
بحب أعتقد أنه هذا اللي نمشي على رجلي غادي الرجال ما كلهمش أنا نريح، دونك غندير لهم يسوقي في العمارة فينا روشات هكا وساعات هكا. مي أعتقد ماشي هادشي اللي طرا.
عندنا واحد كان في الحومة، كانت في الحيلة يعني في القرية، بيقولوا الأحمر فبيقوم يسوق الشفع يجري وراه، والشفع كان فرحانين بهذا الموضوع. كانوا يقولوا لي أحمر ما بنفتح معه، فقالوا مرحبا
الجلول قبل أن أتي إلى طريق علومية الكمبيوتر كأستاذ من بجامعة ثم جئت إلى المغرب ونجحت إلى درجة الماجستير وأخيرا الدكتوراه قبل عدة أشهر.
كانت مسابقة من الثانويات ديال بالقنيطرة والتلاميذ كانوا كيكتبوا مواضيع وباش مواضيع كنحاولوا نفتحوا اللجنة ديال التحكيم اللي كاينة بالرأي ديالها. هذه المسابقة هذه كانت أول حاجة نشارك فيها كعامة وعجبني الحال لأن ثم النهائيات مثل زينة تدخل ستة الإنشاء تستطيع الناس.
لأن الدكتوراه بميزة تشرف جدا مع توسعة المبنى والتمييز النسب والطبع كان هذا فخرا لي لأن الباحث كان دقيقا وكنت حريصا جدا في كتابته.
شبابنا ما نجمش اليوم كلهم حققوا إنجازات مبهرة. رياضة مثلا كتعتبر بطل من أبطال المغرب في مجموعة من البلدان حيث أنها اختارت الرابعة عالميا والأولى وطنيا في رياضة دفع الجولة رمي السولجان ورمي القوس. أما أميمة فكانت ضمن الفريق خدم على فكرة جمعية الكرة ذوي الاحتياجات الخاصة اللي مازال في طور التطور وقررت كذلك أنها تجي تقرأ برمجة واحد من برامج التبادل الثقافي اللي كتقدمهم الجامعة. أما عاصم فهو حامل لكتاب الله وكيتعتبر أول كفيف أجنبي كينال درجة الدكتوراه ميزة مشرف جدا في المغرب ولكن نرجو تحقق نظرة الشفقة اللي يطلقها بعض الناس.
سأذكر بعض الأشياء التي ربما تزعج بعض الإخوة الموظفين. مثلا هنا مثلا
ما كتعجبنيش كاينه بسبب ولا سبب ديال الكورسي ديالي وبس مثلا صعب ومتعب ما تجيب بالبلاصات مثلا نحن نمشي شي بلاصه ولا حتى دونك اما كنجيبوا يعني اما كنجيبوا الفيديو باش تمشي ديك الوقت حنا الناس بالرجل كاع والمرات اللي مستهجئين وما نقدروا نحاولوا نحاولوا الناس يشوفوا حالهم تعرفوا معهم تحكموا بس يفضلوا المسلمين يتأخر عليهم بزاف درجاتهم في المعينين وبحال كنمشي واليوم في معينة كتعطي خطر.
مؤكد أن ماشي كلنا كيتعتبر داعم محفز لهذا الشباب. شفتوا إلى أين حولنا مهم جدا واحد يدير بيت حسن. شحال ممكن أثر على طيب واحد في التآزر والتعامل على نفس محك بشر. ولكن مهما كانت مبادرة المجتمع والأهم هو القسم العلمي. يعني سلوكهم شنو هي نظرتهم للعالم وكيف
متحدي يحتزني
لا أرى أن نظرة سياسية في المؤتمر أحدهم أننا لا نسميهم أشخاص وضعيين فعلينا أن نسميهم أصحاب قدرات إضافية فلذلك لا أحدهم قال نسميهم بالعلاقة فأنا قلت لا أرفع يدي وقلت نسميهم ليس نسميه بمن
آخر سؤال ختم هو شلون ستعتبر المواجهة لكم وللعالم كله؟
سوريا البحر وضحي وطيفات وامتحان وضعيف ولكن نحاول أن ديما نمدح
هي أن يصف العالم بقدرات كل شخص أن تحقق الأشخاص خاصة بالخاص في وضعية الإعاقة حتى يقدموا ما لديهم من قدرات.
العالم الأشخاص والإعاقة أنهم كانت لهم قدرات خارقة يعني يكفي يمكن أن يكون ما يحقق في التعليم وفي العلم كلمة وضعية
وفي النهاية رغم كل الظروف ظروف الشباب يتحدوا بالإعاقة وما يعتبروهاش عائق في طريق نجاحهم.
عندي تحدي مع أنه
كنت أعتقد أن الإعاقة مثل أن تكون حاجزا أمام
شبابنا قريب ذاته ويكون قدوة حسنة لكل شباب العالم. هذا الشباب اللي فعلا يستحق أن يكون نموذج لنا كامل. عاصم، رضا وأمي قدروا يتحدوا ذاتهم وانتم إمتى تتحدوا ذاتكم وتواجهوا كل مصاعب الحياة التي تقطعكم. في انتظار قصصكم المهمة ودمتم بألف خير. شكرا لكواليس هذه الحلقة في صفحتي على الانستغرام. سلام.
Thank you. So please, join me in giving a big hand to Rida. Rida is here. Okay, so and thank you to all our students with disability for the efforts they have invested in accomplishing their dreams. I think now it's time for a coffee break. So we'll have like 25 minutes and then we'll come back. So please stay connected. As mentioned in the program, so take like 25 minutes for coffee break.